All right, so why don't we just throw away all of the content that we've created over the last dozen years and start from scratch? Sometimes that's what it feels like, but that is not what I'm going to recommend today. So, what we have going on, and this has been going on since the beginning of the year, clearly, is that AI is taking over the search results for content that I call top of the funnel or discovery content, which from an SEO perspective has really been our strong spot, right? Like we've pushed a lot of that type of content to get interest into your website. And AI has taken over anywhere from on the low end to about 25% of that content. To on the high end, I've seen 75 or maybe even 80% of a website's organic content virtually disappear in terms of it being a measurable metric in Google Analytics, right? And that's really what we're talking about, because when we think of our traffic going down, it makes us sad, right? It makes me really, really sad. And we've all sort of lived and died on the fact that Google Analytics was just like your bank account, and if you saw it go down, no bueno. But we're in this new world. We have to rethink this, and really, this is the way things are. So, not going to recommend that you throw away all of your content, but we do need to rethink about what we are going to do moving forward in terms of content marketing, how it's going to work, how it's going to actually benefit our business. And so that's what this blog post is all about today. And if you're not watching this on the blog, if you're seeing it in email or somewhere else, please use the link below, because I cannot go through all of the things that we've discovered that need to be done. But the first thing is just know that we are on your side. And so we are creating an audit of your content and deciding what needs to stay, what needs to go, and what needs to be rewritten, right? And sometimes it is as easy as reimagining what that piece of content has in it. And I'm not going to go through all of the different things that are levers now that we can use to avoid AI in terms of getting traffic to the website. But I think we all need to just think of like a bigger picture here. And the bigger picture is, even though everybody's analytics is down in terms of traffic, a lot of businesses are reporting that there is no real change in their business. In other words, their core business, the number of people that are buying, booking, filling out forms, those sorts of things. And so it leads us to the realization that that top of the funnel content probably never converted anyway, right? So it was a good way to get people to your website. It was a way to get a brand impression, but it didn't necessarily evolve into sales, not instantly anyway. And so I'm starting to think of this a lot like I think of display advertising, where the purpose of the marketing channel, content marketing, if we're going to, still work on top of the funnel, is just that. It's getting our brand in front of someone that's interested and building that sort of relationship. And I think that's a useful way to think about it. But if you want to get people to the website, we need to narrow it down to the parameters that I'm talking about inside this blog post. And we need to make sure that when people get there, we deliver on the promise. We need to make sure that the content is complex enough and unique enough, personalized enough, hyper-localized enough that AI doesn't really want to touch it, because they know you probably have a better perspective on where you're at. And and then make sure it's a good piece of content so that we stay in the search engine rankings. And so if you've been on a call with me lately, this has been something we've been talking about. I've been using tools like SEMrush to show you exactly how much of your content is being consumed by AI, how much of it is actually linked in AI, and then how much of it is not linked in AI. And the bummer is, a lot of times we're seeing a preponderance, the majority of the content not linked, at least is what we're looking at. So number one, it's happening. Number two, we have a plan to audit your current content and recommendations moving forward for your new content. And then just know that this new strategy produces less clicks, but they're of a higher quality. What we're finding out is people actually are engaging with the brand, the product, the service in higher numbers. And so that's just where we're at. Um, we continue to use AI to help develop content and content ideas. We are creating custom AIs for all of you that are working with us. And we're starting to bake in these parameters so that we can decide, do we want to create content that's going to be consumed by AI, which isn't a bad thing, right? You're still at the top of the Google search results. They're not just bringing people to your website. Or is it the type of content we want to create to get clicks to your website and have it actionable? And that's one of the major things. So I don't want this to be, like a sky is falling moment, but it seems in marketing for the last X number of years, the sky is falling in some way, shape, or form all the time. And that's because things change, right? Every time things change, there's a little bit of friction. That's the way the world works. And so we know we're moving in the right direction by addressing that friction and figuring out what we can do. There are some other underlying things that are going on in terms of content out there. I don't want to get distracted here. Just know that our focus right now is those AI search results and making sure that your business, the metrics that count, right? Like the money in your bank, that's the metric that we're looking at. And we recognize that it's distressing to see your numbers go down in Google organic. And I think that's just going to be a trend that continues, especially in Google, because people are starting to branch out in terms of their search, right? We're seeing a lot more in ChatGPT. We're optimizing your website for AI, ChatGPT, things like that. And also OpenAI's relationship with Microsoft is having a huge impact on how we optimize for your business. So we're on top of it. It's an evolving landscape. It seems every morning I wake up, there is something new that has occurred and we need to adjust for. And it gets back to the 80-20 rule, right? What is the thing we can focus on that will bring us the maximum return on our work effort and investment? And if you have any questions, please bring them up either email, call me, or on our regular monthly call. We can break it down, and we'll work through this together and come out on the other side just like we do every single time with your business on top as we keep optimizing toward the future. All right. Thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you soon.